Um, First of all, I'd like to start off explaining the construction, the folder construction. This follows an MVC model. MVC stands for Model Views Controllers. So we separate out uh, the the code into models which contains the database related code. A configuration also handles the connectivity to the database and the related code. Public contains views related, what the client sees on the front end, that the code related to that. The routes is the interaction, the data, what kind of data has to be sent to the client side when a page is displayed, and what page to display. Um, all of that is controlled in these routes folder. And server finally is what waits, listens to a request, and once it kickstarts the whole process. So we can start off with server.js and then work our way through to the other folders. We use Express as the server, and once we initiate Express, we fire up this function Express, and we're able to then access the methods defined inside the server in order for us to do several things. First, we would listen to the port. And once a request comes through, we have a whole bunch of middlewares defined here. App.use is a way for us to, a method that helps us define the middlewares that's going to be used. This middleware right here is what passes the request body. So if we are to enter an email, let's say abcdef@example.com, the password, whatever password you desire, when you put in, when the minute you hit the sign up button, this is what is considered as a request to be posted into the database. Now, in order for us to pass this, we need this middleware right here. And it's passed in as a JSON object, and we need this middleware to control that. Express.static is responsible for to handle anything inside the public folder that is static, in the sense that style sheets is a static content file. There's nothing that changes in there. Login HTML, these files are all static content that will not change across different pages. Well, there are different pages, but they're not dynamic. They don't need, they're not dynamic. So all of that will be handled by this middleware right here. And then we have, we'll talk about the session. So session is, when we look at under application in the cookie session, this connect SID, that's a session ID. That is, this middleware right here controls this. What it basically does is it keeps track of a user's activities, so that they are, if they need to be restricted to a certain page, they are taken to that page. All of that for the purpose of keeping track of a user's activities, this session is used, and the session middleware is what handles this process. And we have HTML routes page and API routes page. API routes page will control the data that is displayed to the user, any data that is going to be posted by the user, all of those will be handled by the API routes. The HTML routes will control what page to display. When we go to a specific URL, like login, so if maybe we could go into the HTML routes page itself and take a look at that. In the HTML routes page, you would see, okay, if the user is going to go into the local host 8080/login page, I want you to redirect it to the members page if the credentials that are provided are authenticated. The request.user. Now the request.user comes from the passport, the authenticated page that we have created right here. That will confirm that the user is indeed, the user's email and password credentials are okay, and we can display the next page. The members page will display the content of the members.html, and the associated JavaScript code is here. So we can see that in action. How that works is, say for example, for the HTML routes, if we are first logging in, let's go to, rather than using a login example, maybe it's best if we can use a sign up example. So we can go to the sign up page. Let's go to the sign up page first. Okay, we're right here, and I'm going to create an email. At example.com, and I'm going to say password, give the password, and I'm going to say sign up. The minute I sign up, it takes me to the members page. And the members page, what is displayed in the members page is once the user is authenticated, this is again a middleware that we wrote out, and we said in the middleware, is authenticated. We are basically saying if once the user has entered in the credential, username and password, we are now restricting the part that they can go into. And so we're coming back to members.html. So the HTML route is going to display the page itself, members.html page. Now here, on the server side, what happens is when we go to API sign up at the first stage, when we put in the email and the password, that email and password is created, email and password record is created in our database. Now, once that's created, it goes into the members.html file, and here we are using the email itself to display in the members page, and that's how you see the email that I have entered here. So it goes in the request that goes as a post request is then passed on to members.js to be displayed on the HTML page. And then we spoke about the HTML pages, we spoke about the routes, and we can talk a little bit about is authenticated, or we talked a little bit about that. The configuration, okay, this is basically MySQL related code. It tells you what database that we are dealing with right now, the password, the username associated with it, and so on. And then we have passport.js. This is basically a way of validating the email. Say, for example, this is the function definition. We take the email and the password, and then once the password goes through, we then say if the username, we look for the username in the database, right? The username in this case, it's an email. or say the username field is represented as an email. And if this email is not in the database, then we are going to spit out a message incorrect email. And the same is going to happen to the password as well. And that's what this part of the configuration folder handles. And then we have, that's that. And then we have the package.json. This basically explains in the dependencies here, tells you all of the dependencies that you are using in order for this app to work. The package lock.json is going to contain all the dependencies of these dependencies that are necessary for this app to work. And I think I've covered all bases. And that's it.